Good day, David here, and welcome to another Evolution of Everything video. Somewhere between 1.8 million and 12,000 years ago, our ancestors mastered the craft of fire building. Anthropologists often cite this event as the spark that truly allowed us to become human, giving us the means to cook, keep warm, and forge tools. But fire also marked another important first for us, the invention of man-made pollution. Pollution, by definition, is something introduced into the environment that harmfully disrupts it. While nature sometimes produces its own damaging contaminants, such as wildfires which sends out billows of smoke and ash, volcanoes belch noxious gases, humans are responsible for the lion's share of the pollution plaguing the planet today. Wherever we go, we seem to have a knack for leaving our rubbish and waste behind. Visit even the most remote outposts on the planet and you will witness this firsthand. Shredded tires and plastic bottles punctuate the vast expanses of the Gobi Desert. Plastic bags rise the current in the middle of the Pacific, and spent oxygen canisters and raw sewage mar the snows of Mount Everest. Still, the world is a big place. Might there be some last holdouts free from the taint of our pollution? Answering this very question works best if we break down the environment into the four realms: the sky, land, freshwater, and ocean. Air pollution comes in many forms. Smog is mostly composed of particulate matter and ozone, a greenhouse gas that forms when nitrogen oxide and volatile organic compound produced by cars and industrial plants react together in the presence of sunlight, and its impact on human health and the environment can be severe. In India alone, ozone pollution causes crops losses equivalent to $1.2 billion per year. And in terms of human health, outdoor air pollution costs an estimated 1 million lives per year, while air pollution produced in homes, usually a byproduct of cooking fires, kills around 2 million people annually. When carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide and other primary pollutants find their way high into the atmosphere, they often get transformed through chemical reactions into what scientists refer to as secondary pollutants. Some of these pollutants can linger for months. Others, like methane, are less reactive and may circulate the globe for years, until they are eventually broken down, or find their way to the ground by snow or rain. This means you don't necessarily get away from air pollution by being further away from the sources. Pollution expelled into the air gets transported vast distances by winds and atmospheric currents. For instance, Indonesia has recently been clearing large tracts of forest with fire to create new palm oil plantations, and Singapore now contends with significant haze problems due to its neighbour slash and burn tendencies. Smoke pollution can travel even further than that. However, fires used for farming in South America and Southern Africa are a major source of air pollution for the entire Southern Hemisphere. On occasions, pollution emitted from one source region can find its way around the globe more than once. So based on what we know about atmospheric currents and pollution distribution, it's safe to say that there are no places on the planet guaranteed to be fully free from air pollution, and therefore that goes for the land surfaces too. That said, however, there are places where the air is cleaner. In general, the Southern Hemisphere's air is better than the Northern Hemisphere, just by virtue of the fact that fewer people live there. While pollution does move around the world, there is less mixing between the hemispheres due to barrier-like wind patterns. The South Poles, therefore, probably contains the cleanest air on Earth given its remoteness. But there's still a massive pollution-caused hole in the ozone layer hovering over Antarctica, and deposits of black carbon can be readily spotted on that continent's snow. So even if the air there is likely the cleanest, it's by no means pristine. Deep caves too could contain relatively pollution-free air, so long as they didn't have much circulation with the outside world. Air pollution, unfortunately, also affects water, and therefore cancels out the hope that perfectly clean freshwater bodies exist. But while pollution from the air does settle in water, it's actually pollution from the land that acts as the primary contaminants for freshwater resources. Chemicals, fertilizers, and waste seep into groundwater and wash into lakes, streams and rivers, often winding up in the ocean. The result is dead zones, swathes of fresh or salt water devoid of life. Dead zones occur when nutrient loads from land cause massive microbial blooms, which in turn deplete the water of oxygen. These types of death are found all over the world, but the Gulf of Mexico Mississippi River Delta is perhaps the most infamous example. Raw sewage and industrial waste are primary culprits wreaking havoc on freshwater. In many countries, sanitation refers only to removing waste from homes, not treating it before returning it to the environment. By some estimates, 80% of wastewater generated in developing countries is discharged directly into local waterways. That figure can be worse on a case-to-case basis. New Delhi dumps 99% of its wastewater into the Yamuna River, for example, while Mexico City pumps all of its liquid refuge into the Mezquintal Valley. That is the main source of pollution all over the world, and as a result, the rivers become polluted and people living downstream are forced to drink that water. According to our research, none of South Asia's 1.65 billion people have access to clean, safe tap water. More than half of China's rivers and lakes are too polluted to drink, and 72% of samples collected from Pakistan's water supply system were found to be unfit for human consumption. What's bad for humans is also bad for the environment, according to a report recently issued by the Worldwide Fund for Nature organization. Animal population living in fresh water have declined by 75% over the last 40 years, thanks largely to pollution. As with the air, freshwater bodies furthest from humans are probably also the cleanest. Canada's far northern lakes and rivers, along with Arctic and Antarctic freshwater, are likely candidates for least polluted bodies of water. Glacial layers that formed prior to the Industrial Revolution, as well as subglacial lakes trapped far below the surface, could in fact be pristine. Antarctica's Lake Vostok, for instance, is buried under ice that is 400,000 years old, but these water bodies are clean because humans cannot physically get to them, other than by using drills. When it comes to more accessible areas, remote corners of Congo Basin and the Amazon rainforest could be close contenders for second place. Even the oceans, which remain largely unexplored and occupy a whopping 70% of the Earth's surface, has not escaped our pollution's reaches. Today, an estimated 60 to 80% of marine pollution originates from land, reaching the water through harbours, dirty beaches and polluted waterways that drain into the sea. Of that pollution, plastic is the most pervasive. That's because most plastic takes centuries, perhaps even longer, to completely disappear. Paper, on the other hand, disintegrates quickly, and glass isn't nearly as common as it used to be. Surprisingly, some of the remotest places in the ocean are also some of the most polluted, thanks to the patterns of the currents. Midway Atoll, a speck of land in the middle of the North Pacific, for example, is uninhabited save for scientists who visit for a few weeks at a time, but it's covered in washed up debris, which often fatally finds its way into the digestive system of seabirds living there. Likewise, the deep sea was once thought to be largely cut off from the human world, but the more we explore, the more we are coming to terms with the fact that it is not the case. On the deep sea floor, the most readily identifiable pollution tends to be cans and bottles, though discarded fishing gear, ropes, metal objects, military ammunition and even old shoes regularly turn up too. The diversity of garbage represents the fact that historically, people used the ocean as a dumping ground. In addition to the things that we can see, microplastics, which are formerly bottles and bags that have been broken down into ever smaller particles, fills the ocean and are probably impossible to ever clean up. Plastic pollution is not the only man-made waste contaminating the ocean, however. Oil spills regularly occur all over the world, even if the majority of them escape the notice of Western media. Persistent chemicals such as polychlorinated biphenyls also leach into the water from land and then travel up the marine food chain. And not all marine pollution is physical. Noise pollution caused by things like ship engine noise and sonar is becoming an increasing problem that has been implicated in whales, dolphins and squid deaths. Some human impacts on the marine realm can also be completely unexpected. In 2007, for example, several amphipod crustaceans scooped up from water 11 kilometers below the surface of the Pacific Ocean turned out to have cow DNA within their guts. While a burger for lunch may or may not harm those trench-dwelling creatures, it does demonstrate just how deeply our influence on the planet reaches, whether our contaminants take the form of a discarded lunch, human excrement, or billions of metric tons of airborne pollutants. We're left with an unfortunate but clear answer. There probably is no place on Earth without pollution. It is also clear that humans are the biggest reason why Earth is as contaminated as it is today. But if we do nothing, then there might not be a future for our once clean and beautiful planet. That's it for this Evolution of Everything video. Leave us a comment what you think about the way we're treating our planet. And why not give this video a like if you liked it. And subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this one. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.